Geek News Central, show number 613 for October 5th, 2010. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Got a great show for you. Of course, this show is sponsored by GoDaddy.com, Citrix GoToMeeting, Infusionsoft.com, and of course, Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Okay, folks, on tap tonight, we have a discussion about Google TV. Is it going to be the ultimate smackdown on Apple TV? Those of you wanting to publish a book, you need to listen up. Or is FBI tracking you or any of your friends? We'll be talking about that in length. Stock traders are pretty happy to see a 5 microsecond increase in trade speeds. And there's a traffic jam at the International Space Station. All coming up next. Of course, I've got a great show for you. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Of course, again, my name is Todd Cochran, and I want to encourage you to get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great content over there. Of course, check our archive podcast available via the podcast link on the website. This is show number 616, and wow, we're one show away from having a 6-year anniversary. So that's pretty exciting, and we've come a long way. That's for sure. So I'm going to have a lot of fun for you on show number 616. Of course, I want to give a warm welcome to all of the Ohana, all of you that are longtime listeners of the show. Thanks for being here and being part of the family. Of course, if you're new to the show, hey, you're automatically included in being able to call yourself part of the Ohana. Matter of fact, I'm wearing one of the Ohana T-shirts that Sam Garcia has put together for us. It's running our Ohana store, and I actually sent him an email this morning. Was looking for, I want a black polo with the Geek News Central logo. I want to order some of those, so I have them for Blog World. Don't know if we're going to make it in time, but asked him to see if he could do that. He was having a little trouble with the logo, and the folks at Cafe Press were supposedly working on it. But I'm going to encourage, of course, all of you to get over to cafepress.com/Ohana store and pick out some geek wear. You'll find some Insider T-shirts over there. You'll find stuff with our regular logo, our Ohana stuff. Sam's put a lot of work into that. So for those of you that have been looking for T-shirts and a way to support the show, feel free to get over there. Of course, we want to welcome listeners from 178 countries worldwide. And, of course, we're live streaming right now. Actually, we're just streaming on Ustream because I forgot to flip the switch to Justin. Let's see if anybody on Justin even is watching. You know, I was ready in advance tonight, and I thought, okay, I went through my whole checklist, and I thought, have you got everything done? And you guys heard me at the beginning of the show. I flipped the logo, and what happened was the screen came up, the external screen, and I thought, oh, we're off to a great start today. So, oh man, nothing like making a knucklehead of yourself from the very beginning. But yeah, if you're watching on Justin.tv, you're live now. We weren't before, but most of the people are asleep anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's just us and those that are willing to stay up to late hours of night. And of course, those of you that have been smart and subscribed to the show and are downloading it via audio podcast. And that's a key. If you want to get subscribed to the show, make sure you do so. You can find that information out over at geeknewscentral.com. And it's simple to get signed up. All you do is you go over to the website, you find the little orange link on the orange box on the website, you'll find blog, podcast, video, our special event feed, the morning tech show info, and then just a real quick and easy way for you to subscribe to the podcast. That way you'll never miss a single episode. But, of course, if you're watching on on the Roku or Boxy, I want to welcome you to the show. And you know what I was doing this afternoon? For those of you that have our channel loaded into Roku, we're about ready to punch a new release. So Angelo released it in beta format to the team, and I've been playing with it this evening. My wife said, "Oh, that's cool. That's a cool feature." So she kind of got clued in. So we're gonna have a bit vast improvement to the app, and I'm excited to hopefully we'll bring that to you right about the time that Blog World starts. Because it is such a big change, we're going to have a significant review process with the folks at Roku, and they're busy, as you well can understand. So we're going to do our best, but we'll be demoing it at Blog World, and if we don't have it ready to go, don't worry, I'll give you guys a live. Maybe I can even sneak in a preview of it here in the next maybe on Saturday or something. But anyway, if you're watching on the Roku, hey, thanks for being here, and thanks for being subscribed to the show and watching. And of course, we want to thank our sponsors as well. Longtime sponsor here, GoDaddy.com. If you're looking for an online product, whether it be a domain name, a dedicated server, virtual dedicated server, shared hosting account, really GoDaddy is the place to go. And you can save on .com domains. If you're a new customer over there, you can use my code GEEK199 and get $1.99 .com domain names. And then really, this is only for brand new customers. So lots of great products. And I want to thank all of you that supported me last month. The numbers came in, and we had a great month with GoDaddy. And I want to continue to, thank you for supporting them. And in turn, it supports me. But their hosting plans, great hosting plans. The economy plan starts, if you just do a 12-month subscription on their economy plan, it's $3.99. If you do their ultimate plan, and you do a 12-month, it's $7.99, $3.99 a month, or $7.99 a month. And here's the kind of cool thing: they're already giving you a 47% discount on the price of it. But when you get to the checkout counter, use a promo code TOD20. That's TOD20, and they'll save you an additional 20%. All my promo codes can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You'll find them there. There's a code for every occasion and about every product over there. So don't forget me, and share that information with your friends and family, people that you know. Post it on the bulletin board. Wherever you can share the codes does me a lot of good. It really does help us keep the lights on here. As I talked about in the last show, my mom is in town. She flew in last night. She got in about 7:30 here Honolulu time, and picked her up at the airport. She got right out. Boom! They were quick on the luggage. She was actually surprised. So was I, because we'd stopped at the lay stand. And here in Hawaii, when you're coming into arrivals, they have an area where they have about 6 or 7 lay stands. And I went to get Mom a nice flower lay. And I was asking the lady, so how's business been? And she's looking at me like horrible. And, they always do booming business. So I was actually kind of surprised that even the ladies who sell the traditional flower lays here in Hawaii were being impacted. But anyway, dropped my daughter off. She went into the baggage area. I went around the circuit because, of course, security doesn't let you stop for very long. And by the time I got around the second time, within about 5 minutes, they were outside and loaded her up. We're going to have Mom on Saturday on the Morning Tech Show. She's going to come on and hang out with us, with whoever our guest may be. Of course, this previous Saturday, we were supposed to have Rick Calvert from Blog World. Had him all confirmed up. Came time to start the show. Rob Greenlee from Zoom checked in, and Rick never appeared. Found out later Rick had a mini emergency and just could not attend, so I'm going to try to reschedule Rick for, I don't know, it's getting close to Blog World, so I don't know if I have time this weekend. Maybe we'll do a post-show thing, post-Blog World. So anyway, that is that. And just Rob and I had a great discussion. Nonetheless, so I hope that you find time on your Saturday mornings to tune in with me at 9 a.m. Pacific or noon Eastern, and we talk for an hour and 15. Actually, we went an hour 32. Nothing like going long, right? It's pretty normal for this show. Hey, if you are watching on stream, someone scolded me for not participating in the chat. And be honest with you, it's too much. I just can't do it. I can't chat and cover the articles and switch the switcher and everything else that needs to be done. So if I'm not participating in the chat channel, my apologies, but it's the way it works out. Okay, tonight we're giving away a Roku. This is the Roku that never got claimed by a listener that won one. Actually, his email started bouncing, but we're going to give the Roku away tonight to Rob in Pittsburgh. Rob, your name was randomly selected. I don't have a last name for you. All it said in your last email post was Rob in Pittsburgh. You're my winner of the Roku. I will send you an email, and hopefully you reply, and we'll get this out to you. It's already boxed. It's in the. That's unusual. Stuff for me is usually not boxed. It's boxed and ready to ship. So we'll get this out to you post haste, and then on the next show we're going to give away another Roku. We're going to give away a Roku to those of you that are submitting a entry on trying to determine, based on the hints that I have given you so far, how many downloads that this show has seen, this show only, and not our CES coverage, not the stuff from Ford or anybody else. But we want you to guess how many downloads this show has had in the 6 years of its existence. I have a very close number. Matter of fact, we're going to be close to going. I can't say it, or I'm going to give it away. Anyway, that will be a prize we'll give away in the next show, and I may reveal the number. I don't know. I haven't gotten any haters sending me an email yet, so maybe safe. So we'll announce that the winner on the next show for another Roku for the Millions and Millions served. And then I guess the way the schedule is looking, I will be here for you on Monday the 11th. I can almost guarantee you that there will be no show the week of, actually the Friday the 15th. I can almost guarantee that there will not be a show. So you're going to get 2 more shows, and then I'm going to be in Vegas. I'll do the show before I leave to go to Vegas, and then on the 15th, the show that released on the 15th, there'll be no episode. We'll come back hard at you from Texas on the 18th. I have the 18th night show. We'll be recording what is Texas in Central, or whatever time zone Texas is in. We'll be recording that on the 18th live from a hotel room somewhere. And then the same thing on the 21st. I think I'll be doing the show on the 21st from Dallas. So, and then I fly home on the 22nd, and then home just for a short week. The TriCaster has 2 more shows in it, and then it gets shipped to Andy McCaskey in Elkhart, Indiana. He's going to be launching a new network over there. So we'll have this out to him on the morning of the 12th. And then hopefully by the time I get back, I'm being told the TCDXD850, the 8-channel HD recorder, is very close to being delivered. So figure a couple of weeks will be in. I want to get to enjoy it for a week, because you guys know I'm going to New Mexico for 23 days in November. So I'm going to be out there for a while. So, this new box is going to sit here to about December when I finally get home to be able to, right around Thanksgiving, to use this thing. So lots of stuff going on with me and travel. But just so I don't stick too long on this stuff here tonight, still looking for, if any of you want to be a writer, any of you want to be a writer on basically a journeyman's pay, in other words, no pay, we have a number of writers. I am full right now for paid writers at Geek News Central. We've had a few people inquire they want to write. I say, okay, you can come on. If we lose a writer, then I'll bring someone on as a paid writer. But right now I'm kind of tapped out as far as the number of actual writers I can have on the show based on what we're generating. So, if you're interested, send me an email at geeknews@gmail.com. I don't know if I told you on the last show or not, but the Apple TV arrived. I plugged it in, played with it. 2 thumbs down. I'm just not impressed with the new Apple TV whatsoever. My wife's like, bring the old one back. At least there's other stuff on there I can do with it. So that was interesting. But right now, it's back in the cabinet in my relics portion back there. So you can't see it. I need to get a light back there. But anyway, we're not impressed. So we've been Rokuing it up. And we're going to talk a little bit about Google TV here in a few minutes. Now, one thing I have done, the camera that's being used directly in front of me here is a Sony Z1U. This camera is, I think, now approaching 3 years old. I've got the HVR A1U over on this channel here. And obviously, I want to go HD with the show, full 16:9. The new 850 allows me to do that. So I impacted my credit card this evening and ordered a new Sony camera. I bought an EX1R, and it's an absolutely gorgeous camera. I just can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm going to be taking it with me on this next trip and using it. but that will basically tap me out for what I need for cameras for the studio here and going to HD. So I'm excited about that. So anyway, that'll be in on Thursday. It arrives, I guess, and so I'll be geeking out on it. Still doing show editions for the 5 shows we're going to bring on board here. We're going to launch 5 shows here close to the end of the year. So if you are still want to put your name in the hat, or if those of you that put your names in the hat, don't worry, I've got your info. But if you're considering coming on and being a new show host here at Geek News Central and launching your own show, I'm taking auditions through probably mid-November, and then we'll probably plan on launching all the shows right around the 1st of January and getting up and running. So we're looking forward to that. Podcast Awards, still looking for volunteers for the 2010 Podcast Awards. If you want to be a volunteer, we still need some volunteers. Let me know if you want to volunteer or not. All right, let's go ahead and take care of a little business here. Let's get into the content. Obviously, that's what you guys came for. And you guys know, as a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, Angelo's going to be meeting with me. We've been working heavy on our advertising campaign system. As a matter of fact, it's needed some work for about a year and a half, but we've just had a lot of other priorities. But now that we've got a second full-time programmer, his project over the last month has been to really rewrite our entire campaign advertising management system. And so we're going to do a go-to-meeting session tomorrow. Angelo was bouncing off the walls. He's like, "Wait till you see this! I can't." I'm so excited. He says, "You're gonna be screaming on the call," and I'm like, "Is it that big a deal?" He's, "Oh, this is big. It's big. Wait till you see this." And so when a programmer gets excited, 6 a.m. I'm going to be up early on a go-to-meeting session. We're going to see. He's going to introduce me to at least phase 2 of the new system, and I'm going to be I'm going to have to act overjoyed. But it's perfect. Go-to-meeting is perfect for meeting with clients and colleagues. Business travel is a hassle. Sometimes you got to go. But the beauty about even when you do have to go on business, you can still do business remotely with GoToMeeting. It's got built-in voice IP activation service. Basically, you just launch the meeting and you can use the speaker that's on your computer, and it's perfect. So do more and travel less with GoToMeeting. It's an award-winning online meeting service brought to you by Citrix. With just a click, you can host sales presentations, training sessions, product demos right from your desk. And here's the best part. It's $49 a month for unlimited online meetings. Now, it sounds like a lot, but when you start using this thing, it pays for itself in 1 or 2 uses. I'm serious. It really does. Think about time and money, how much your time is really, really worth. Again, you can host all you want for one flat low rate. And as a listener of this show, you can get a free 45-day trial of GoToMeeting. And really, all you have to do here is go over to the GoToMeeting website at GoToMeeting.com. This is important. This is how you're going to get that free trial. You go over to GoToMeeting.com. You click on the Try It Free button and use the promo code podcast. Again, use the promo code podcast. That's a 45-day free trial. GoToMeeting.com, try it free button, and use the 45-day podcast. And thanks for GoToMeeting for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central. All right, let's go ahead and get into the content. That's what you guys came for, and that's what I need to get into before we go too long so we can stay on schedule tonight. One thing I did post, and I should cover this before we get into the regular content, is I posted we've been doing a lot of calls with a lot of different companies talking about our CES 2011 sponsorship opportunities. And so I was talking over with the team. They said, well, just, we've got a bunch of companies in play, but, when all these companies are in play, you want to get a contract signed, right? And, of course, it always comes down to, like, the 9th hour. It's like right after Christmas or right before Christmas, people are signing contracts. This year we got to do signage and everything else. I'm trying to get everything knocked out early. So we're 90 days away from the show. Can you believe that? We're only 90 days away from being live in Vegas. And with our 6th year on the show, we're really looking for some additional support. So if you are working with a company that wants to get some major, this is going to be major exposure during the show, check out our sponsorship details. I have a link posted on geeknewscentral.com. Check it out because I have a feeling that we're going to close these relatively close. And I've got a couple of spots left. But, we did like 13 million, something like close to 13.5 in 2010, and 150 interviews, the back channel stuff. And then this year we're adding the live portion. It's going to be big. So if you got a company, you got a contact that you think that would be a good play, let me know. And one thing I also do too is if you introduce me to a company and it results in a advertising deal, award you with a 10% finder's fee for doing that, just for the introduction. It ends up in an ad deal. Hey, let's go ahead and talk about what Barnes & Noble has launched today. They've launched a new product. It's called Pubit, and this is pretty cool. I kind of alluded to it in the beginning of the show. If luckily I had a publisher. Wiley Publishing was my publisher for my book, and I had a technical writer. I had someone that was actually involved in the manuscript review, and it was basically a regular editor. So I had a really true publishing experience, and it was an awesome thing to do. It really, really was. But most people are not fortunate enough to get connected with the publisher or even asked to be write a book. And that was what the beauty of my deal was when I wrote my book in 2005, was that, they basically came to me. I wasn't even shopping to do a book. But Pubit by Barnes & Noble will let you live the dream and sell your books and become a bestseller. And this is pretty cool what they've done here. You upload it and you publish it, and it converts it to a digital file, makes it available. You can sell it. So you can sell it on Barnes & Noble's website through bn.com, and you get a pretty big cut of the book sales. So, great way to publish an ebook and have it listed in the Barnes & Noble system. I think this is going to be big for BNN. I really do. And it's going to be big for those of you that are, that want to publish something, that have an idea for a book. And now you have no excuse. It's already been easy to get a book printed. That's been going on for a while, but your cost and your margins are not as great. Anything digital today, that's the way to go. It made me think a little bit, because there's some things that I've been considering doing as far as talking about the new media space. I thought, I wonder if I could do my own second book and publish it through BNN. I wonder how it would do. But it was really, truly great, I'll be honest with you, to have that support of the editor and have the support of the technical reviewer, basically doing the review on the technical portion of it. You need that. So, I might think about it. I might actually think about bringing some people in and doing a collaborative a book writing. So, like I have not enough to do already, right? So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But very cool thing by Barnes & Noble. Let's talk just a little. Let's really shift gears here. Let's go into talk about cell phones. And that right now it is a huge deal that in our prison systems here in the United States, that cell phones are being smuggled into the prison system. And it makes me just, okay, exactly how are they getting those phones in? It's not like they walk in and hand them to them, right? So the wardens in many institutions across the United States are having a huge issue with these illegally smuggled phones. People are making calls. Recently, there was a warden or one of the guys that was actually guard. Somebody from inside the prison called in a hit on this guy, and he spent months in the hospital. When they have to go to a telephone and make a collect call, all those calls are recorded from within the prison system. So when you have someone with a cell phone, they can make a call and they're not recorded, and they can basically continue to do illegal things. In what the prison systems has asked for years is the ability to jam cell phones. Well, there's a law in the books that goes all the way back to 1934. Check this out. A 1934 law that only allows federal agencies, not state or local ones, to jam the public airways. So, these administrators in these prisons have had huge issues with this. So there's been some tests down in South Carolina recently with some new services that basically redirect the phone calls within the prison system. They're able to do it by making it look like there's another cell system, and it basically has a way to chop out legitimate phone numbers, and basically they've been able to capture from within this one prison in this test system like 20. It's ridiculous. 21,000 illegal phone calls. It's like 21,000. I know, okay, 200 out of a prison system, but 21,000. How many people does it take having cell phones to make 21,000 phone calls? They're searching these guys' rooms, right? How are they charging these phones, It's not like you're going to have a transformer laying there that's going to look like it's, that's a little out of place, isn't it? So it's huge. But anyway, they're coming up with this new third-party blocking provider that protects the people outside the prison systems from being affected. It only takes this slice of stuff within. So we're going to see how this turns out. I'll keep track on this for you. But they think this may be just the way to do it without, quote-unquote, jamming the signal out there. And I found this article over it was an AP article that was indexed by the folks at Google. Okay, get your credit cards ready. I'm serious. Remember that a few years ago they had a family home pack where you could buy Windows. Back in the day, it was Windows Vista. You could get 3 licenses. Well, for a very short time only, and they're saying this is very limited on the time, you can get Windows 7 Home Premium for $149. I ordered one just because I've got enough machines here that need upgrading. For $149, that's 3 licenses. You save yourself about $200 by doing this. Again, this will be a very limited time frame here. Now, they are also selling on the same page Office and Home Student 2010 for $149. So if you want to upgrade Office and Home version, you can do so. But Windows 7 Home Premium, $149 for 3 licenses. Go get it while it's, because they roll this out for a little bit and they shut it down. So this is, be advised, this isn't going to last very long. All right, let's talk about Google TV. Today, the folks over at Google TV really ramped up their rhetoric, for a better word, and introduced Google TV in a much more elaborate way. And this is big. I mean, what I'm seeing here is huge. We're going to have, from the get-go, we're going to have Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, NBA Game Time, Blip TV, Vivo, Pandora, Napster, Twitter, to name a few of the apps, along with the search, the integrated browser. And I'm looking how this goes head-to-head. It is a total slam dunk. Google TV completely destroys. Of those things I just talked about, only Apple TV only has 4. Now, the person that comes closest to having an equal amount of stuff, believe it or not, is our friends over at Roku.com. So some of the deltas were Vivo, V-E-V-O. I'm not familiar with that service. Napster. Napster's not on Roku. Twitter's not on Roku. The only thing that's missing from Google TV is Flickr, that the Roku has and Apple TV has as well. It just, I know Blip has got their app on the Google TV. I'm like, come on, Google, let me develop to this. So these early companies are going to, they're going to clean up. They really, really are. And the Blip folks actually introduced a new HTML5 media player. We've already had that for a long time. You're going to be able to watch, what a lot of websites are doing is the sites have been hard at work optimizing some of their most popular sites for viewing on Google TV. And that's going to be the first thing we're going to do is, we're going to be looking at their sites and making sure they're optimized. There's not a lot of information out about it, but TBS, TNT, CNN, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim is going to be available anytime through Google TV. NBC Universal has collaborated, and they're bringing CNBC Real Time. It's an application that will allow you to track your favorite stocks and access news feeds. HBO is going to be bringing some content on, and of course NBA is as well. So I'm not a big sports fan, so that doesn't make for me it doesn't really matter. But I know for some of you that are big sports fan, this is going to be good. It's going to be big. But anyway, they've got some pretty cool videos on how it works, and they've dedicated a whole Google TV website. So this is big. It really, really is. And I'm excited to see this launch. I'm not real pleasant, or I'm not really happy about the price point. $299 to get into the Logitech box. So, I kind of want to wait a little bit to see, Sony's going to announce some pricing. I got a spot on the wall right above that. Let's see if I can actually move this. Oh, I can't move that camera. Let me move this one. What can we show? Yeah, right there. Right behind the screen that is recording the audio on the show. There's a spot there, and I'm thinking Sony TV with Google TV embedded. That needs to go there. I don't know. We'll see what Sony has to say. I'm sure that price point is going to be a little ridiculous too, knowing Sony stuff. And this could be a hard sell to. Gonna be a hard sell to my wife. So I don't know. What are you guys gonna do? It? You gonna make the jump? You gonna buy a Google TV? Tell me now. geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. 619-342-7365. Again, geeknews@gmail.com. Are you gonna go out and buy the Logitech app and get that hooked up? Or are you gonna wait for some TVs? Or what are you gonna do? The folks over at Gizmodo, their takeaways have been, here's our 6 things, or 5 things that we're tingly about Google TV. One word is apps. Apps is where it's at, and it's ultimately going to be back into the Android marketplace. Number 2, it's real nice with all of our phones. So, interesting. So they're going to be able to have iOS devices interact with Google TV as well. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. It's a platform, so this is a little bit different about the Google TV. So we'll see what happens with this. It's a full-on platform that does a lot of stuff. Has a web browser built in. It looks in the videos amazingly polished. For a Google product, they have really packaged it to kind of be like Apple. Really clean, slick. And it's got a huge amount of content already, plus complete access to the internet. We'll see how this goes, but I think they are the 800-pound gorilla, and I'm glad they're joining the party. Absolutely, this is going to change. This will be as big as anything else we've seen in a long time, and I think it's just going to drive adoption, and you're going to see. Mark my words, a year from now, everyone's thinking the cable industry has a long time to adapt. They think they've got 4 or 5 years to make this transition, and because we're wired, they're wired into our homes. I'm telling you, within a year, they're going to be desperate. They're going to be making big changes to their infrastructure. They have no choice. I think the adoption on this is going to be huge. And you guys think? Do you think the adoption is going to be big, or do you think they're just going to hold out? I think it's going to go faster than what they're expecting. Now, here's an interesting one. Imagine you take your car in to have it worked on. Now, this is an article over on Gizmodo. Actually, the original article on this was over on Reddit at reddit.com. And a guy, has some issues on his vehicle, and the mechanic puts it up on the lift, and he says, "Hey, bro, come here." And he goes over to the mechanic, and the mechanic hands him a device that has been attached to his vehicle that is a battery pack. It looks like kind of looks almost like a pipe bomb, the one unit, but you can tell it's what is running this device, but it's a GPS tracker. And, if you found this on your vehicle, you'd be going kind of like, huh, what do we have here? What do we? So obviously, this individual is being tracked by either federal or state or local authorities. Now, they did have some insight onto this. Apparently, the father of this individual has some sort of radical ties back to the Middle East, but kind of interesting. And it shows a picture of this thing. And when I looked at it initially, I thought it really looked like a pipe bomb with a detonator transmitter hooked to it. But no, no, no. This is a GPS tracker. They went and looked online and got the part number information and cross-checked it, and it was very obviously something that was being used to track this guy. Now, here's the thing that's really odd. Under our cars, they get grungy, right? This hasn't been there too long because what they show, it's not dirty at all. But what would you do with this thing? If you found one of those under your vehicle, I think the first thing I would do, I think I'd hire me a lawyer. That's what I would do. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? So if you see anybody snooping around your car, maybe you want to crawl underneath it and take a look. But everyone's telling me, hey, mail it to China or mail it somewhere. I think this would be one of those devices that you would just leave in your home and make sure it's unplugged. And then, like I said, go get yourself a lawyer because I'm sure someone will come knocking for their property at some point. So kind of makes your eyeballs go, And they've ruled they don't need to do this without a search warrant. They can walk into your driveway, crawl underneath your vehicle, put this up to the underside of it, walk away, and guess what? You can't say nothing. And they don't need a search warrant to do it. So, there's been a lot of this U.S. Court of Appeals, though, in District of Columbia seems to disagree with that policy. But in the ruling back in August, they had said that tracking anyone for an extended period of time was not, doesn't constitute an invasion of privacy. It does constitute an invasion of privacy over long-term tracking without a warrant. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. You gotta, we've heard about in the news all the time about these drones and all kinds of stuff that's that is being used today, and we're on terror. But out in Nevada, at the National Security Site, this is a site where the United States many years ago did all of their nuclear testing. Is where they did underground airdrops, all kinds of stuff, and that area is very much off limits because of the radiation issue. But I guess the Army has launched, and this is pretty cool. It's a remote Sentinel. Basically a diesel vehicle that's remotely controlled. It can drive autonomous, and it reacts to seeing people or vehicles, and it brings it live up to an operator. These things can go like 16 hours on a tank of gas, and it's basically what they're using now to limit manpower having to be out there and just driving around looking for people. So they're using remote controlled vehicles. They're calling them robotic sentinels guarding the largest nuke site in the United States. That kind of reminds me of a movie. Boy, I haven't seen it in years, where they had robots that were essentially doing the same thing, and going around doing chores and different types of stuff, and safeguarding weapon systems. This is a sci-fi movie. Gosh, what is the name of that? Anyway, years and years ago, and but anyway, what we saw as the science fiction has come to reality, and this is allowing them to. I can't imagine these vehicles being cheap, but definitely cheaper than having a couple of guys sit in a vehicle and drive around all day. That's for sure. Hey, Windows 7 is coming to us next week. And, many of you probably have a lot of questions on exactly what the Windows 7 phone is going to do. There's lots of reviews. A lot of people have had these in their hot hands already. But, you're getting a new user interface. There's a lot of people building hardware for it. LG, Samsung, Dell, HTC are all confirmed hardware partners. And we don't know if all of them are going to have phones on launch or not. There's, of course, games and music and browsing the web and integration. We know that T-Mobile is likely to have a phone. I don't know who else. Maybe AT&T will have one as well. But it looks, from everything I've seen, it looks to me like this is going to be a pretty good product. And I'm just kind of curious how many of you are going to dump your iPhone and go to a Windows Phone 7 or dump your Android and make the jump. Talking with Rob over the last couple of weeks, he's starting to kind of work on me a little bit, and it's a very integrated experience. It really is. It's as much integrated as the iPhone is, and then some. I was actually kind of surprised. Now, I think the true what's going to drive the success of the Windows Phone 7 will definitely be the apps that come later. If they're able to convince the app community to make a run of it and start building apps for the phone, I think they're going to be well set. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But at least there's going to be now there's going to be 3 players. You're going to have the iPhone, the Android, and Windows Phone 7. So definitely brings some competitiveness to the marketplace and gives us a lot more choices. That's for sure. Hey, over on Robert Scoble's website, I've gotten into the Valley, Silicon Valley, quite a bit this past year. I think I've made 3 or 4 trips to the Valley in 2010. And, sometimes I get back to the hotel and, you're 2 or 3 hours between meetings and you're like, man, what am I going to do? You get online and you surf a little bit or take a nap or whatever. But this is awesome. He's got a list of things to do in Silicon Valley. I didn't know the Intel Museum was there. Apple's company store and headquarters. They got a company right there at Cupertino. You can go to the HP garage. There's all kinds of cool things. If you can get a friend from the South Bay Historical Railroad Society, you can go see the very first true computer. All kinds of cool places to go. The most interesting headquarters, he says, is actually Smug Mugs. He says, well, for one, you'll probably get in. Unlike at Apple or Google, for 2, they're nice. For 3, they have the best food. For 4, they have awesome gigapixel photos on nearly every available wall space. And I've had my picture taken by the folks at Smug Mug at South by Southwest last year. And so there's all kinds of cool stuff to do there. You can walk around their office. What else? There's just a whole list here of stuff that I didn't even know existed in Silicon Valley that you can do. Take an hour and go do something between meetings. This is really good, and I thank Robert for putting this up. I've got it bookmarked. So if you're, Barry was out at the Mac Users Conference this past weekend. If those of you that were there maybe got to meet him. And he said he had a great time, and he ran into a bunch of new media creators that we know, and they were surprised to see us. We were surprised to see them. Small world, everyone runs in these small circles. But I could have sent this to him if he had had an extra hour to go do something. So anyway, very, very cool. So thanks for Scoble putting this up. How many of you noticed Foursquare was down today? I didn't. I haven't checked in somewhere in Foursquare in a long time. Are you guys using Foursquare anymore? Are you checking in? Are you kind of checked in to out? Are you checking in anywhere? When I'm on travel, I check in. But when I'm home, I don't. I check into what? To my house? That just, to me, it's, I'm kind of checked in out. Are you guys checked in out? And apparently I had an issue. But I'd love to hear you guys what you think about this whole check-in thing. I guess we don't have to really check in anymore because our applications are checking us out and sending, calling home to mama and giving them all kinds of insider information on what we're doing, where we're walking, where we're going, what we're seeing, and what we're doing. There's a whole privacy issue that's going to just come to a head at some point. And what's going to happen is there's going to be legislation put forth that will slam this door shut. Android's having issues with privacy. The iPhone is having problems with privacy because these apps are just feeding data to advertisers, trying to do nothing more than to sell to you the crap they're trying to sell to you. Now let's be honest. They have to make money, but I don't want them spying on me to do it. I really don't. They already are. But this whole thing of tracking me where I go is a little bit concerning. or let's leave the privacy world and let's move into the browser world and talk a little bit about Chrome. There's an article over on pingdom.com, pingdom.com. They have a Chrome is rapidly catching up to Firefox. Well, in September 2010, Internet Explorer 49.9% market share. Firefox 31.5, Chrome 11.5, Safari 4.4, Opera 2.0, and others 0.6. Now here's the kicker. A year ago, Microsoft was at 58.4. They're now at 49.9. Firefox dead even, 31.3 to 31.5. Chrome, on the other hand, has definitely decimated the Internet Explorer users because 3.7% last year, 11.5. There's 7 point some percent, and it's almost exactly the drop that we saw on Internet Explorer. Safari and Opera still. Excuse me. I need one of those sneeze buttons here in the studio. But definitely losing ground. And mind share of what's being talked about. Firefox is dropping and Chrome is on a huge increase. So they're definitely making an impact with that browser. Hey, Skype has got a new CEO. They've appointed a Cisco SVP named Tony Bates. And he's the new man that's in charge of Skype. We'll see what happens with that. I have no clue who this guy was or not. Those of you that are on Comcast, Comcast is saying that they're going to start notifying customers with infected personal computers. I had something really strange happen yesterday. I finished, oh, by the way, I finished my last, not my last, I finished my next to last class. Looks like I ended up with about an 84 or a well, she's just got it in percentile. She doesn't have a grade point assigned to it. 84%. So I got a, B, what's that? Would that be a B minus or a straight B in the class? And I guess on a 4-point scale, 3 point something. And so I was looking for some statistics software because my next class, my last class I got to take is a statistics class. So I was, looking around on the internet. I found a site that had some cool stuff, and I'm searching. And you're looking for software. You got to be careful, right? I'm real nervous about any sites, and so I find some software. I said, oh, that would be perfect. And I started doing some Google searches, trying to make sure that this software is legitimate, and CRC checking, and everything I can do to make sure I'm good to go. And this is a real piece of software, not some spyware. So, because I'm not familiar with statistics applications. As a matter of fact, I found a real good one by the folks at IBM for like $14,000. I'm like, yeah, right. I wonder if they got a student edition for $90. But anyway, downloaded this one program, loaded it. I was watching what it was doing. I had everything. I'd already done a restore point, and everything was up on high alert. The thing got done, and it didn't create an icon. Nothing. It just kind of, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And I went into the program folders and found it and started pulling log files and finally just figured out that this was an older program, and it obviously didn't work real good with Windows 7. And I was cool, but man, for about 5 minutes, I was like, what I did is actually unplug the Ethernet from the computer, just as a precaution to keep it off the rest of the network. Obviously, and I kind of took a survey here of what I had turned on, and I thought I was done. I thought I had been sucked in and ate out and spit out for lunch. And this is after being careful, running a scan on the executable. Just was a dumb installer, and it didn't do a good job. And run the application, ran fine. Sigh of relief. But if I was not geeky and did that research, and that thing got in my machine, I'd have never known. So with Comcast going to be supposedly notifying subscribers, then it'll be interesting. So it's going to start in Philly, and they're going to roll out to all of its 16 million subscribers And then they are going to saying customers whose PCs appear to be infected receive an email notifying that they should visit a security page that has links to Microsoft security updates, free antivirus software, and so forth. They're not going to be sniffing email, but they're just going to be watching your computers, make sure they're not doing something stupid. I think this is a great idea. I really do. A little late to the party here. The folks at Scientific American, they are all of a sudden appalled that the United States broadband is in a state of what are their words they use? They use the words, they said, why broadband service in the United States is so awful. And the piece argues that ISPs need to open up their networks to third-party competitors. This is the first time they've addressed this, and this is in their October 2010 issue. Scientific American? What's wrong with these guys? Are they not watching this? Maybe they're worried about upsetting their sponsors of their magazine or something. How many of you read that magazine still? I pick one up every once in a while, but I haven't in some time. Got another article here about iPhone users' privacy at risk. I have this link up in the show notes. We already talked about enough on that. And I know I'm starting to get some email from a guy that does a lot of old-time radio shows, and they're having issues because the copyright's starting to be locked down on some of these old shows that there were fair use. Basically they are in the public domain, and people are doing all kinds of maneuvering to get stuff in underneath copyright. So that's I'm going to be watching what's going on in that space. But all this old stuff, is being relocked back up again through purchases and different types of licensing agreements with, so-called people, owners of the content. So we'll see what happens there. Now, along with that, the folks at that U.S. copyright group, remember this is, it's not any official group. This is a lawyer firm. They've sent out 2,000 more file swapper or peer-to-peer user lawsuits. This brings a total to $16,200 in just 9 months. And they figure that they're converting about 20% of those cases into raw cash. And they figure they've done about they've done around $2.5 million in revenue based on just the sending out those threat letters. But let's talk just a little bit here about real super geeky stuff. And this, I read this article. This is over on arstenica.com. And this is one, if you do any day trading whatsoever, you should read this. Because I'm going to tell you, as a individual who is, watching my financial status, and who, at my age, I'm trying to make sure that, I've got a little bit of a nest egg. I'm going to be able to, retire at some point in the future. I read an article about a new fiber optic cable that was laid between New York City and London that they're bragging about how it has only 60 microsecond latency between London and New York City. And the reason why they're bragging about this is because the only other cable that, or this cable is not complete yet, but this is what the goal is, to be at 60 microseconds on a latency time, only getting an improvement of 5 microseconds. Only getting, again, think about this, folks. You just Google, if you don't know what a microsecond is, Google what is 5 microseconds, and you'll find out how many zeros there is there. They're getting a 5 microsecond improvement in latency, and people are spending a lot of money to be on that line because automated trading. If they can be just 5 microseconds faster than their competitors in making trades on computer-based trades, they can make a lot of money. And it's worth, think about this, it's worth them putting a fiber between, and this actually, it makes landfall in Halifax. So how much does that cost? You think about that, a 5 microsecond increase in latency for stock traders. We don't stand a chance. All of us that are just little peons are doing day trading, we're trying to, do a little buy here and there. Forget it. Forget it. Guess it's time to invest in gold or something. I keep hearing those gold articles. Of course, gold's way up. I missed all that appreciation. I don't think as an individual investor trying to do any kind of trading, it's not even worth it anymore. You know, because the computers are just going to whip your butt. You know, those are the rich get richer, and that's 5 microseconds increase in latency to lay a brand new transoceanic fiber. It's got to make you sit back and go, Hey, as a reminder, we're working with our friends over at Infusionsoft and Infusionsoft.com, and we've actually started to roll out some of the stuff that they're working with us on, and so far good results. Infusionsoft.com/pod1. Go check them out. They'll do targeted email marketing. They have a full integrated CRM. That's what I'm using a lot of their processes for. They have some smart automation, and I'm all about automating. They do multimedia marketing as well, which I'm not using any of that. Opportunity management, storefront and shopping carts, that type of stuff. So if you're looking to grow your business, Infusionsoft.com/pod1, one of our sponsors here at Geek News Central. Hey, the folks over at MIT, boy, I gotta love these guys. These are smart dudes and ladies. Here's the title. How many cores is too many? I think to me, more of the cores, better, right, on our processors? Well, not so fast. And of course, MIT style, they took 9 quad cores and built kind of like a supercomputer type of thing. And they did an analysis of Linux scalability to multiple cores, and what they found was that it doesn't scale real well because of some wait times, and it basically, there needs to be some recoding of Linux and different operating system and software to take advantage of more cores. So for at least right now, what they're saying here in this research paper is many scaling problems manifest themselves as delays caused by cache misses when a core uses data that other cores have written. And also there's this timing task that has to happen too that takes up a lot of resources. Essentially their conclusion was that by slightly rewriting Linux so that each core could keep a local count which was only occasionally synchronized with those of the other cores would greatly improve the system's overall performance. But what works for modern day Linux and other operating systems also work when the number of cores go up past 48, according to one researcher. So in other words, more cores are going to require new architecture and reprogramming of the code. Have you guys heard about the new trend out there? It's a new fashion trend. I think fellas, you ought to pay attention to this. You need to go over to the dailymail.co.uk. This is a brand new tanning technique. I think you're gonna like this, especially if you're a gamer. It's called basically what's the new word for it here? Toasted skin. Oh yes, yeah. If you look at this article, those of you that are listening, you go over to this dailymail.co.uk article. I think you're going to be quite impressed. It looks like this guy has went to a tanning booth and applied his suntan lotion a little weird. Well, this individual, a 12-year-old, shows off his toasted skin on his leg after using a laptop for several hours a day. And basically, you develop a sponge pattern on your skin, and they're finding, too, that ladies are being affected more than the guys are because the ladies are using the laptops, they're wearing a skirt, they sit down, so the laptop sits on their knees, and it touches the, between the knee and where their skirt line is. And the ladies are getting impacted worse than the fellas are because the fellas are usually wearing long shorts or pants, so they have a little extra protection. But they're saying the temperature underneath some of these laptops can reach 52 degrees centigrade, and placed under the microscope, the affected skin resembles skin damage by long-term sun exposure. So be careful. Please, please, please don't put your laptops directly on your lap. I'm getting ready to go to the dermatologist has got me scheduled. I'm getting a spot cut out right here, and probably from, my years of, being in the sun and not using enough suntan lotion when I was younger. You don't want to end up with a spot, or worse yet, have to, develop skin cancer from this because you've damaged the skin, and they got to cut out a whole section of your leg, and then you got to, go for skin grafting. This is serious business. It really, really is. So be careful out there with these laptops on your lap. It's leading to this new phenomenon called toasted skin. It's a new medical term. Another thing on the medical front, there's a young boy in the UK, 15 years old. He's gotten the first permanent artificial heart. This individual had an illness, a muscle wasting illness called Duchenne syndrome, and he was ineligible to be placed on the heart transplant waiting list because this disease would have just destroyed the heart. But they feel now he is the youngest, and the first person to get a permanent transplant, and they feel that he could live as 20 to 25 additional years of normal life. And who knows, in 20, let's say he can get out to 20 years, what's going to be advanced? This individual has a good chance of making it to a ripe old age with technology. Boy, what a spokesperson for this type of stuff. And he's going to have to wear a battery pack and everything else. But he was on his deathbed, and this 15-year-old's getting his second chance of life. And actually, he was Italian. But here's the thing: you get a dying child, you're going to do anything. You're going to do anything for that child. And if the alternative is death, boy, thank God for these doctors. So we'll see how this turns out, and we wish him the best. Senate is going to try to pass the quiet TV bill. In other words, they want TV commercials to be the same audio volume as regular TV programming. Good luck. Yeah, good luck with that. Space traffic jam is delaying the final shuttle Endeavour launch, scheduled for February 27th. What's going on is they're sending up another one of those buses. The European Space Agency is sending up ATV-2. They have to wait till ATV-2 gets up and gets out of the way before they launch the space shuttle. But a lot of action happening in and around the space station there in the end of February. It's going to be like Grand Central Station, with some of the the last big loads of supplies being brought up by our shuttle fleet. A little news on the eHome upgrade website. Apple TV is not ready for apps, at least not yet. The hackers have been working this hard, and they say, we're not ready. It's not ready. They think they can do it, but it won't be long before I think we're going to see some apps for the Apple. There's nothing else on the stupid thing, so we might as well jailbreak it and then hack it and have fun with it. It's $99 if we make it a hockey puck. We can put it on the wall of shame back there. Apple really, what a lost opportunity. Only time will tell if they can pull it out. But Google TV's going to eat their lunch at this point. I may eat those words, but Kindle owners, tend to be wealthy and educated. iPad owners tend to be under 35 and male. Interesting. You look at Sony PlayStation Portable, 62% male, 38% female. Apple iPod Touch, 52% male, 48% female. Apple iPhone, 52% male, 48% female. So pretty even there. Apple iPad, 65% male, 35% female. And that's on gender. Then you break down the ages, and it's huge. Huge difference between the Kindle and the iPad owners. But yet, advertisers so desperately want to reach that 18 to basically 25 to 30 crowd. But who has most of the money? It's I'm not. I was 30 at one time, and I was broke. So anyway, interesting what that demographic's shaping up to be. I wonder how that's going to drive advertising. Okay, those of you that are Opie and Anthony fans, you can sigh a little relief. They've re-signed with Sirius. No details on the deal, but they're smiling, and they've got a contract. Howard Stern doesn't have one yet. and neither does Bubba the Love Sponge. He doesn't have one either. I've never listened to Bubba, but I just think that's so funny to have that's kind of a cool nickname. Again, I don't know who this guy is or what kind of show he does, but it sounds pretty cool. Hey, over at O Gizmo, you just got to give it to some people for coming up with cool ideas. You know how we've all got wires just running everywhere, and they never organize well. Well, someone's come up with, like Legos and how they stack together. Well, someone has come up with an extension cord that acts like a Lego. You can snap them together. You can have 2 or 3 extension cords. You can run them together, and they all form one strip. Very, very smart. This is really, really smart. So I'm going to go look and see if I can actually order this cable, because I'll make my own connectors. Just makes things look neat. Really, really cool. So anyway, I'll have that in the show notes for you. Last article of the evening. All I'm going to do is say Hal. You guys know who Hal is, right? Okay, we're talking about a little bit of space stuff here. Hal. Well, for $15, there is definitely a decal many of you are going to want. And those of you who are on the stream, I'm just going to give you a little quick peek here. Now tell me, do you want one of those or not? I think that would... I'm like, that's really cool. And it's currently sold out. But I have got to have one. That, I have just my GNC logo on here, and at Geek News, it was these the ones that Sam's buddy hooked me up with. We'll have to give him another plug here on another show. But I'd be about the only other sticker I'd want to put on my Mac. So pretty cool stuff. All right, let me go ahead and get in. I got one voicemail here, and it's an apology voicemail from our last show. And by the way, I got a couple of emails from people saying that the show looped, but I only had 2 people say the show looped. Anybody else have a looping show, the last show? I don't know if you guys downloaded it early, if it got cached wrong or what. Did anyone else have a looping show, the last show, 6 minutes it looped and looped and looped? No one else complained, and I tested the audio and it sounded fine, but if you did, just email me, okay? Tell me what part of the country you're in. Or anyway, geeknews@gmail.com is the email, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline is 619-342-7365. Here is an apology. Please, no one has to apologize for anything they send into the show. I'll play this, and I think I know what it's about, but we'll go ahead and let this roll, and then I'll comment afterwards. But again, 619-342-7365 if you want to call the voicemail hotline or the hotline for the show. Here we go. Oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. How come I don't hear the audio? Well, maybe I won't be playing it. How come it's not playing? Let's try this again.
Hey, Todd, it's Brian in Brooklyn. I don't want to hog your voicemail. I know I just left a comment on your last show, but that's actually why I'm calling. I wanted to apologize about the comment about the Segway guy. I just couldn't believe, I had no idea that that was true. You hear about race car drivers getting killed, and you're not surprised to hear that, or Evel Knievel, say, gets killed on his motorcycle, right? No big surprise. But it was like Henry Ford getting killed in a Model T.
Right.
Or better yet, the guy who invented the Nerf ball sustaining a serious head injury after getting hit by one. I thought it was some kind of web rumor joke when you were you mentioned the incident. What are the odds? Let alone the guy who. Has anyone died on a Segway?
I don't know. He did.
At all? Especially, the guy who invented it. I didn't think they even go fast. I mean, isn't it supposed to just be like a replacement for walking? Sorry. I just couldn't believe that was true. Hey, but I did try to portray him as a hero who was fighting for the free market. Oh, yeah, real quick, the Stuxnet worm that was attacking Iran's infrastructure or systems control. I think the story in the story there is that they're running Windows to control the nuclear power plant, and other critical infrastructure. Are you kidding? I mean, and we're worried about Iran. I think it's much more likely they're going to blow themselves up than anyone else. Windows? I mean, that's not common, is it? I mean, wouldn't you at least develop some flavor of Linux for that? I don't know. I would like to think that our stuff isn't running on Windows. I mean, I'm not bashing Windows. It's just it's the most hackable OS there is. I mean, well, please tell me that I'm just ill-informed and it's actually the safest way to go for this sort of thing. All right, book 'em, Dano.
Hey, thanks for the call, and don't worry, no need to apologize. And but it is kind of odd. What he did is he was on apparently going around some ridge line close to a cliff and went over. So those things can haul butt, dude. There's some YouTube videos out there that show these guys going like madmen, and then people wiping out on them. So I don't know if anyone else has gotten killed or not. Hey, I got an email from a podcaster. It was, and I normally don't try to, I get so many emails from listener or from podcasters asking me to help with their shows, and I try to do the best I can in the schedule that is allowed. I replied to the individual. Basically, the context of the email was like this: the guy had been doing a podcast since June. He's done 5 shows and since June, and he was worried about his subscriber numbers. I think he said he was just maybe not quite 100, but he was still in double digits. And my response basically back to him is that the way the space works, and this is hard work doing these shows. I prepare, I dedicate every Monday and Thursday night is completely off my calendar. I mean, it's gone. I don't have a life every Monday and Thursday night. And the thing you have to do is 5 shows in since June is not enough. You have to be in your potential listeners' ears every week at a minimum. So, we're looking at June, July, August, September. That's 4 months, 5 shows. You really should be at least a minimum show 16 or 17 at the 4-month mark. Because what happens is I miss a couple, 2-3 shows a year, and really maximum. Usually 1 or 2 at CES, 1 during Blog World, and then, there might be 1 here or there. But I try to tell everybody when I'm going to miss, okay? Because what has happened is everyone that listens to the show has pre-programmed me into their life. They know when the show's going to be coming out on a dedicated basis. They know, like clockwork, Tuesday and Friday morning, this show is available for them to download and listen to. They may not listen to it then. They may download it, and they might put it in their media player, and then they may go to the gym and listen to me at the gym or on an airplane or during the commute or on a bus or night before they're going to go to sleep. And some people say I'm a great sleeping pill. Sorry. That hurts my feelings, but it's okay. But they schedule the listening of this show into their lives. So if you are only coming in and doing 1 show a month, there's no way anyone can build your show into their life. You have to be on a regular basis. You have to be blogging on a regular basis. You have to be doing all the things on the social media network sites. Also, don't get discouraged about the numbers. How many? I always tell people say, I only have 200 listeners, I only have 500, I only have 1,000, or I only have 20, or I only have I only have 5,000. People can get hung up on the numbers. I believe me, I'm watching the numbers every week to see what's right or what's wrong and what's gone up and what's gone down and the email feedback. And, there's always things that are tweaking stuff, right? But what it really boils down to is how many people get the opportunity to talk to, let's just say, 50 people on a weekly basis. Your boss probably, if you're a small company, your boss doesn't talk to 50 people a week. He may on the phone, but not at one time. How many people get to talk to 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 people a week? Not very many people. I've been doing this now for 6 years, and the audience size is in 6 digits. I've talked publicly about the numbers that listen to this show, but at the same point, I don't get hung up on the numbers because I know some people are going to listen, some will, some won't. People come and go. People don't listen for 2 or 3 months. They come back. The main thing is they know I'm here doing the show twice a week. And what may not appeal to them today will appeal to them tomorrow or months in advance, or they'll tell someone else about the show. But if I wasn't here doing the show every twice a week, there'd be no way that the audience would sustain the numbers that it does. And I tell people, don't even look at your stats until you really are at show 30. Do a year or 2 years. This is not easy. It's hard work. And it takes a level of dedication to put this together. 50% of podcasters fail to create their 7th show. Another additional 50 to 60 to 70%, really somewhere in there, 50 to 70%, never make it to show 23. If you make it to show 25 and beyond, usually you started to get a rhythm and you're used to doing it and you make it further. But really, don't even worry about the numbers. Just worry about the content. Worry about getting your structure down. Worry about, getting your show laid out the way you need to put it together that flows. That's why this show has not changed very, very little in 6 years. It's the secret to its success. It's the consistency. And believe me, there are podcasters that are much, much more successful than I am. And I was fortunate to be here in the beginning, but still, I know people that were in the beginning that have pod faded and died, and they had substantial audiences. So that's all I can say. Keep cranking. Do what you can do. Do the best you can. And don't get hung up on the numbers. Focus on the content and move forward. And, if you get a couple shows underneath your belt where you're on a consistent basis, send me your promo. We'll play your promo on the show. geeknews@gmail.com. Send me that promo. We'll play it. We'll get a few people over there from the show, listen to it. And believe me, they're going to send you feedback. Always ask for feedback. You're not always going to get it. You're going to get a very small percentage. Maybe 10% or 1% of your audience is going to respond because people are too busy. They don't have time. So while this show gets a number of emails every week, it's, a lot of the folks send on a regular basis, and it's just because they're involved in the show. As a matter of fact, we're long here, so we're not going to be able to finish out the email tonight. But for the folks out there creating content, don't worry about the numbers. Just keep on cranking and do what you do. Have fun, and it'll all happen naturally over time. All right, folks, that's it. That's all I got for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me, and thanks for letting me kind of talk to some of these folks out there that are creating content. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show. We'll see you on Thursday night for those who want to watch live. Show will be released for the rest of you that get it via DVR mode or via podcast mode Friday morning. Thanks for being here, being part of the family. I really, really do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Everyone take care. And aloha.